I'd like to thank the whole Winvisor team and the initiative from DSP on giving me a chance to kind of extend the value I want to give back to society. Being one of the stakeholders, this gives me a great chance to get back. My reasons for joining this initiative is very core. How many of you here are from North India? I am a North Indian. Even for people who are not from North India, how many of you think we are in a patriarchal society? Hugely male dominated? No, Ajit, I'm not going to stoke any controversy. But, and with the way we all are treated on the roads in the society, do you think financial independence or making your own decisions on financial stuff is empowerment? I think it's a huge empowerment. If I were to quote one of the very popular Hindi quotes, Zar, Zoru or Jameen, these are the three critical reasons for any dispute anywhere all over the world. Zoru refers to us, land and wealth. Aren't we all dealing in all of this? So, if we want to make change at the really grassroots level, if we want to see the 48% of our country empowered, we need to, in whichever patches, in a piecemeal way, revolutions don't happen overnight, we need to stoke fires from within these people's heart. And I always have been very passionate about, I think I'm really fortunate to be liberated enough to be financially free, making my own decisions. Therefore, the onus is on all of us to give it back to society, to have our kins, our women brethren, grow from strength to strength. So this is my reason for having such a standard, excellent processes in place, platform which can just help me reach out to so many people. So I basically start this whole process by talking to a client and telling him that wouldn't he want his money to slog as hard as he's doing for his job or his business or for his family, even if she's a housewife who gets certain funds to run the house. And most often than not, we know the answer is yes. So with that scene in mind, it sets the tone for DSP BlackRock, because we kind of take it forward saying this is a platform which is just meant for people like you who want to take their own financial decisions, and with a bit of help in terms of financial information sharing, we could go ahead and do the goal planning for you. And I start with, I have done, I think this Grazia event was very successful, so I got some around 36 leads. Some of them were, few of them were wrong numbers, some of them were students, but there are at least 5-6 leads in the pipeline which look to fructify to maybe some stage of goal planning. So my attempt when I do this bit with Winvisor is to also leverage on the visibility which Aditi talked about. In fact, I had a chance through Shiny, who first introduced me to this initiative. I was interviewed by Mint when they had quoted my views, and that's how it has started a long stream of articles on personal finance. And as Nisreen mentioned, to all my prospects I get from here as an Winvisor and otherwise, while I may do 1, 2, 3 follow-ups, I put them on my mailing list. So that's not a aggressive selling or pushing stance, but when they read the articles on personal finance, they kind of see that the credibility is established, and they at some stage come back. So even with my articles, I have had people come back to me and say, okay, fine, I have a view on this, or I disagree, and why don't we meet up and see how we can take it forward. So that has been very meaningful. In terms of, if I were to, let's say, talk about certain success stories, I want to spend more time on that. While I have not, at this moment, closed any referrals or leads from DSP, I've done goal planning for two of the prospects, and they've gone ahead and invested, not through me though, directly. I would be happy to share 5 such cases in financial planning through which I made a difference to clients' life. I have a client who is a senior banker, with a 48-year-old senior banker who gets an ESOP of around 80 lakhs in a year. When I met him, I realized that he has an overdraft of 80 lakhs, on which at that point of time he was paying an 80,000 kind of interest. And my first question was, when you don't need a loan, why did you take one? So to which he answered that he needs to buy these ESOPs. And he, over a period of 7-8 months, used to cut off these loans by rejuggling his current investments. So my first thought was, but why aren't you selling your previous ESOPs which you got? You can use it as a ladder of growth. Sell them, recycle, buy the new ones. His logic was, I want the previous ones to gain in price to a great level before I can book profits. Now do you see the fundamental flaw in this? For him to allow that price to move up, he's taken more interest cost in servicing that initial tranche, and this has led to his cost price expectation to go up much more. So for him to get a level where he has made a profit, he has increased that price expectation by taking a loan on his next tranche. So I helped him recycle his older ones to newer ones, and now he's debt free and he kind of makes the money from the previous ones. Another thing which I found in another of my clients is, he has 2 daughters, both of them students, not earning on their own, being funded by their dad, and he had taken life insurance policies in their name, which meant, so if something were to happen to them, he would get the proceeds, which was ridiculous. I said, you are funding it, and if something were to happen to them, you aren't even depending on their money. And which is a way, I'm sure you all must be wondering, but we all are surrounded by so many, I should say, financially ill people. Financially ill does not mean having less net worth. It refers to taking wrong decisions. So I had him rectify that. There was another lady whom I met who had taken a student loan for her only son to be sent to France to study political science. Loan rate was 13.75, and her reason for taking a loan, when she could have easily redeemed her LIC policies and paid for that, her reason was, I get Section 80E benefit. It's amazing the kind of stuff CAs and insurance guys do on an overkill to make their money. So I had to actually break that down into a mathematics spreadsheet and show it to her. The interest saved is X, the interest paid is Y. Y is much, much, much higher than X. So you are losing more than you are gaining. So it's a notional profit you are making. I met across another client. It's funny how people from the field of finance or law are actually doing so many wrong things. I had a client who used to earn decent money. His take home was 50 lakhs annually. And when I met him and his wife, I insist on meeting clients along with their better halves. So this way or the other way. If they aren't divorced or single, or they are uncomfortable getting the other guy along, then I have to let go. So I met this client who is 42 years old, and he puts in 1.5 lakh of insurance premium to whole life policies, which means it's like a checker view. You are getting in, you have no way of getting out. And all this it meant was that when he turns 85, he will get all the money. When his kids turn 42, they'll benefit from it. And his wife said a very nice thing. ये सब तो ठीक है, लेकिन मेरे हाथ हमेशा तंग रहते हैं. Obviously, when all your money is going towards one-way product, where you have no option to pull it out. So this is one client. I faced a huge dilemma. What should I do? I actually had 2-3 sleepless nights. What to suggest? Because the cost of paying towards these would have killed him. He would have not been able to do anything for his retirement, anything to buy his house. And if I made him pull out, I'm sure so many of you in this room know that surrender charges are 30% of the premium paid for these LIC policies. So which meant all the good money down the drain. So I had I had to choose between one appropriate choice when there was devil in deep sea. So I had to make these policies paid up. I said at least more good money is not going to chase bad money. So with this, I could kind of rectify his financial life, and from that day was in fact his inflection point. From that day, he could turn around his life to at least making his goals met. What has happened has happened. And when I do these calls, which I get through so many referrals, which DSP BlackRock passes me on, so often I figure out that financial planning or financial advice, while they may have attended the complimentary financial clinic, is last on their scheme of things. How many of you here agree that financial planning can wait? No, I mean not rightly, but from your experience, do you think people relegate us to Saturdays, Sundays, after the New Year party, after the Christmas has happened, after Diwali has happened? So we are in a way, after all the other important things in life are taken care of. So often I come across, oh, I'm busy, I'm attending parties, I'm attending shadi, I'm going out station for a vacation, so why don't you meet me after that? So as a precursor to this, when I call them up in my 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th call, because I calendarize all my conversations and definitely call back. Only after a point where the client says his brother is an agent, he takes care of it. I had just gone for some information gathering, my father takes care of my investments. All of these routine feedback we get about how the male in the house is responsible for taking care, that's when I give up and go the route of sending them regular emails. So I next time in my conversation, next time, I actually start with, so how was your exams? How did the marriage go? So where was it? So it kind of builds a thread of warmth, and they kind of realize that we are not here just for we are not just some nerds trying to suggest some mathematical computation or risk profiling. It kind of makes them feel we are part of them, and that opens them more to us. I think with that, I would love to take any questions, if there are any, or any experiences or feedback you have to share about this initiative or anything else when you deal with clients. See, very good question. In fact, after facing this dilemma and actually consulting 2-3 financial planners who are mentors to me in my field, whether this is the best course, it took me 8 months before I could crack him. My first port of call was the friend who had referred me to this guy. I actually went and told him, does he discuss your finances? He said he does. I said, okay, fine. Since you referred me to him and you know about his finances, how screwed does this look? He did a major high five with me, and he said he would love to have this change, and the reason he had got me here so that I could influence. I said, okay, fine, then we have to work it together. So I had my friend meet him for dinner twice, tell him that how this was screwed. I attacked his wife, mentioned that this was ridiculous. That having said, we have to kind of acknowledge that we can't make him feel bad about what he did. So it took us a long time, attacking from 5-6 quarters, but finally it happened. And it wasn't a pleasant thing, it was more a decisive thing ki, let me cut my loss. Yes, there was a huge loss. Move forward in life. Because I had clearly told him that if he wants his other goals to be met, it won't happen. My experience has been similar, but for people who don't have high income in white, for people who have high income in otherwise, they go for things like gold or a plot of land. And I don't know how many of you here would agree that selling a real estate can be really sticky at times. The price you want is not met. So you are right. I try and do those same convincing things. It's not divisible. It's not liquid. It probably will fetch you returns lower than what equity will get. And trust me, I don't win all. I lose some. Can't help it. I mean, if a bloke doesn't want to listen to you, sorry for that term, but at times you get so concerned about what they're doing, but they aren't willing to listen, you have to let go. So yeah, I've encountered the same thing.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.